right, welcome to another Man's Point of View. I am your host, the Space Luchador, and today I got a little something different for you today. Now, this was brought to my attention by one of my viewers. Here we go. He said that I'd never seen this before, right? He actually he left a comment, and it was pretty interesting. He said it's called Enmeshment or Enmeshment. So I looked it up. Apparently, and it makes sense. It actually makes sense. And however, I think it's the other way around with the way he was using it. All right, so let's go ahead and explain what enmeshment is. Now, enmeshment is this like phenomenon where I guess the only way I could explain it for a universal explanation, right? It's like a dog. Right? I know how it sounds, but it's like a dog. So when the owner of the dog is angry, and I know anybody that knows things about dogs knows that the dog supposedly feels what you feel, right? So if you're the owner and you're angry, the dog feels anger. If you're the owner and you're sad, the dog feels that you're sad, all right? And so, which makes perfect sense, right? That the dog would feel a certain kind of way that his owner feels, right? So that's what that basically is, enmeshment. However, this is with human beings, okay? And what he was saying is that I guess the mother, and he used this to emotional incest. So to that viewer that left that comment, I want to give you a shout out for that. I really do like this emotional incest. However, it sounds really bad, right? It's an emotional incest, but I've seen this all around, and this happens not just with single moms, but moms in general with their sons, right? When they're too close together, basically means the lack of father or even fatherhood, right? Because the father could be there, but if the mom's in control, it's just you might as well be a single mom. All right, now let me explain. Emotional incest, which means that apparently the mother's attached, or in this case, I think it's backwards. It's the son gets attached to the mother because the mother is a woman. All right, so let me explain the woman's side first. All right, the woman, no matter what, this could be a man, a son, whatever it is, it could be the government, right? Wherever it is, she's gonna do what she has to do to bring food to the table, or because she's the gatherer, believe it or not. Now that I was gonna save that for another video, but I guess I already said it, so screw it. The hunter-gatherer thing, they messed up. They bundled it together. All right, what the way it really works is that the father is the hunter, and that's it. They were never supposed to add with a hunter-gatherer part. No. The mother does the gathering, right? The father does the hunting, and that's where everything's been lost, right? Confused and all that stuff. Because now it's like, well, we're all hunter. No, we're not all hunter-gatherers, right? We're just hunters. That's it, right? Now, if you're gathering, that's you doing the other side, right, or the other part, all by yourself, right? And which is, at that point, what's the point, right? You don't need to gather if there's no one else to feed, all right? But anyways, I don't want to go explain that. I'll do that in another video. For now, emotional incest, all right? So anyways, let's go with the mother, all right? This is the way it works for simple man's point of view explaining, right? The mother finds the husband, the original dad, right, who provides stuff, right? And this could be right down the line, emotional, right, physical, economic, everything right down the line, right? Companionship, listeningship, all that stuff, right? Now, when the father is gone, right, in this case, the man, right, they will find, and this happens to single moms, they'll go with the kids first, especially if they have a son that's a male and he's big enough. They start not necessarily, sounds bad, but not necessarily using them for the resources, but they do teach him to bring back, because you need a hunter. She needs to gather, and she's not about to go hunt. Now, I know how that sounds, right? Because then women, we can, right? No, you can in the economic sense, but in everything else that you need, and this is again emotional hallucination, all that stuff that I just mentioned earlier, right? So they use the kid and basically tell him that he is now the protector of the house, that he is now the man of the house. He is now, but in essence, he is now the father. However, he is not. He is the son, right? So you see what I mean? And women don't necessarily say, well, you're now the king. You're now the king. You're now the father. You need to lead this house. No, they tell you this while they lead it themselves. And that's where everything goes right down the shitter, right? Because, again, emotional incest, just like my viewer, which commented below on my single mom video, mentioned, and this is true, however, it's backwards. The one that gets attached is the son. Because the son believes this shit, right? Then believes all the other stuff that the mom's throwing at him, which is like, you need to treat a woman right, you need to give her this, you need to give her that, you need to provide, you need to do all this shit, while teaching you supposedly how to do it. However, she can only teach you the way that she does it as a female. And that's where everything literally goes down the shitter. Because think about it, and my viewer is correct. Enhancement, right, happens between the mother and the son. So what happens is this, right? The mother transfers all the emotional stuff to the son, right? Now the son knows he's a man, right? Or he's supposed to be at some point, but he's a male. He knows this. He needs to be the hunter, the protector, all that stuff. However, the way he goes about it is all emotional, because now he feels what his mother feels. You see what I mean? That's how it works. That is emotional incest, right? And it sounds real bad but you know, they're too connected. So then what happens to the male boy is basically he tries to be a man in the image that his mother is trying to make him into, which is usually the opposite of his original dad, because the mother sees the original dad as a coward, right? As a failure, as a loser, which is the reason she ain't with him anymore. See what I mean? So when you tell a kid, right, and I'm gonna do this as fast as possible, no, right? Not as fast, but as simple as possible without offending anybody. But what happens is, right, that the woman tells his son, right, that he's supposed to be this gentleman, if you will, right, and treat women right, while at the same time telling them you can't be like your father because your father sucked. So you see how that messes him up in the head. And on top of this, for all this, you know, how you're trying to teach him how to be a man, you don't, or in this case the woman does it. It makes him emotional. So everything that he does is emotional, right? All his decision making becomes basically like a woman. And I know men don't like this. They don't like to hear it. But this is you could see it, right? It's a fact. You could see it because I've spoken to, you know, not millions, but you know, thousands of single mom men, right? Or who come from a single mom, and most likely and usually they hate the father. Right? They don't even want to talk about him, right? And I'm like, I always ask, well, why not, right? Well, fuck him, right? And I get it, because you blame the dad for everything, and it makes sense, right? But at some point, you being a male yourself, you can no longer blame your father or your mother. You must at some point man up, and that's the problem. You don't, because now you carry this little thing called a grudge that your mom handed right over to you, and then she taught you all this emotional crap while telling you that you must be a servant to women, and that's what's really going on. However, because it's so simple, right, people and society and the world don't want to accept it, but that is what it is. It's literally that simple. That's why I always say it's so simple that it's hard, because who does want to accept that? Who wants to accept that they're a victim? First of all, you can't, right? Because that's one of the no-nos of being a man. You can't be a victim, which is why it's so hard, right? Because in essence, you are a victim because you fell victim to a single motherhood situation, right? So clearly you don't want to be a victim. However, you did go through it, and it is emotional, right? Like it does, you know, it doesn't just go away. You kind of have to retrain yourself. Yeah, first you have to accept what's actually going on, which is the hardest part, because you got to look in the mirror, right? And on top of it, you kind of somehow have to actually figure out that the problem was your mom, right? Which is hard, because you know, you kind of have to do it without the judgment, which is why I always say think outside the box. You don't have to judge her, all right? It's just part of the system. This is the way it works, right? You just happen to be in the middle of it. However, if you're aware enough and awake enough, which I always say, take the red pill, right? And I never say the red pill, basically once you take the red pill, you're gonna know everything. No, what I'm saying is take the red pill to wake up that you know that you're in the system, and that you can wake up to the truth, right? It just means you're waking up to know that you're in a system, all right? And if you are a product of a single mom, then you can do something about it. You know, just sit down, you know, look at what I'm saying, look into it, don't get emotional, just look into it, think about it. Is anything that I'm saying kind of relates to your situation, right? To maybe your decisions are too emotional, right? Maybe you have a grudge against your dad that you shouldn't have in the first place, because when you know, this is the thing about men, all right? All men, we don't get our dads, all right? Whether he was there or not, we don't get them until we are placed in the position that your dad was at some point in the past, right? Then you understand why your dad went through what he went, or did what he had to do, or whatever the situation he was in, because now you know, whether you're a victim or not, you're a male, and you will be held accountable and to the standards that all women want men to be, all while at the same time telling you that you must be a gentleman and you must be a nice guy, and that you need to shut up, right? And listen and all this stuff, right? But that's the key to it all, is that there is a way, right? There is an answer, right? You just have to sit down, forget about the emotional crap, right? Man up, not in the bad way, but in the good way. You man up, because you can take it, believe it or not, which is why we're held to that standard, which is why every time that everything goes, right, to hell in a handbasket and falls apart, everybody always points the finger to where are all the men. Well, where are they? Well, we're right here, right? At least for space luchador, I'm saying we're here, right? And I get it. But instead of, you know, well, why you guys didn't want us to be here, so now no, that's not what a real man does. You just kind of have to accept that is the way it is. All right. As a matter of fact, I kind of like it. It's a compliment to me. It's like, to me, you know, which is why I'm doing all this, right? I find it hard to believe that, you know, when somebody throws out the "where have all the men gone," it kind of just goes, well, I'm here. You know? I wasn't there where you know, where I was needed, because I wasn't there, but I am here, right? And I kind of like the challenge of like, yeah. It kind of proves my point, right? Matter of fact, it proves my point. Every time that everything goes right down the shitter, where's all the good men? Or where have all the men gone, right? Or why are you a cow, right? And it's just basically pushing you as a guy to be what you were meant to be, a man. That's it. And quite frankly, that is the answer to all of our problems as guys, right? You got to understand what we are. You got to understand that being a real man means something. It's not one of those things of what does it mean? No. It's really not that hard. It really ain't. It's be a man of your word, right? Keep your word, which means don't upsell all this shit and in the end you can't pull through, right? Keep your word that you know you can keep. That's number one. 2, hold yourself accountable, because you will be held accountable, all right? Hold yourself up to the best standards, not the high value man, not making money and all that shit. All that shit goes right down the shitter if you ain't a real man. And I will explain in due time. But for now, that's it. So emotional incest. That it can't be any more explained than that. It's literally that's what it is. Okay. When a male son is with his mother or his sisters, you're damn right he's gonna start mimicking the way they act, right? And everything that they do and the way they talk. So when they grow up, it doesn't just go away. It's not like because this is what you know. This is all you know. This is what you grew up with, right? As a guy. So when you're older, you start doing the talking points, right? You start sounding like a woman, even though you can't catch it. Space Luchador can. You can point out every single little thing. You kind of repeat it, right? And you start sounding like a woman. The thing is that this is the part that kind of eclipses or actually goes into the side of being a nice guy, right? Because this is the problem. It's that you think you're doing things right, but the women ain't never gonna tell you that you sound like a woman, right? You think you're being nice, but you sound like a woman, right? So, and she's never gonna tell you that because it would defeat the purpose. Now, I know I say that a lot, but I will explain the purpose in due time. For now, I'm giving you this puzzle, and that's one, right? So you need to catch yourself. Listen to what you say when you talk. And if you can catch yourself, right? Catch yourself and truly listen to how you sound and listen to how women talk and how they sound. And if you sound anything like them, then yes, you're a victim to the emotional incest or enmeshment. Right? So you need to untrain all that crap, get rid of it. All right, pick up any book about manhood or warriors or art of war. It's a good not to go to war, but to understand what it's all about. Right? It's one of the first keys to understanding what you're really doing. Right? It opens up the mind and it's hardening up. It's not all about being like a soldier and going to war. No, because you're not going to war, right? This is about relationships, about you and another woman, not the world. You and a woman, not another woman. I take that back. You and your woman, all right? So it's just you and your woman. Forget about the world, because that's one of the big ass problems that I always hear. I always hear all these coach gurus and love gurus. It's always the same thing. We all need to be in love and harmony. And if we all work together, it's not all, right? It's just me, for example, and a woman. Maybe a couple, but nonetheless, it's me and a woman, not the world. I could care less about the world, right? Forget about all that crap. That's the part that gets in the way of what your true mission is. It's you and your woman. Handle your woman first. Handle yourself first before you start spreading all this love message. It don't work. It don't work. And I'll prove it. And you know it. You know it. All right. So there you go. Space to draw out on this one. Emotional incest. It's that simple. You kind of, and it's not your mom's fault. Okay, it's not that either. It's just the way it is. You put a child with anybody, they're gonna get trained. Maybe not directly, right? Sometimes indirectly. It's like collateral damage. You're just gonna pick up all this shit because you're with that person your whole life. That's all you know. All right, so. But there's books and shit, there's the space.